And welcome back to the Lakers Fast Break YouTube channel. I'm your host, Sean Grice, aka MagicMan, and welcome to the Lakers weekend. And it's interesting. I saw our schedule for this upcoming week, and it's pretty packed. So we needed to get this in um, eventually. So I thought, what better day than today? Um, because I was going to come on anyway. You guys need us and we need you. It's what do you call it? It's a mutualist addiction we have to one another. Appreciate the audience as always. Please hit the like and subscribe button. We're just honored and privileged to have a channel that's growing by leaps and bounds is because of the audience, and it is the audience. It's not just our audience. It's it's your guys' audience as well. So we needed to talk about this. Pau Gasol is getting into the Hall of Fame. Congratulations to Pau. Um, I think a significant aspect of him just being a walk-in was his time with the Lakers. He retired in 2019 and he's heading into the class of 2023. That's 4 years out. That's the quickest anybody can be elected to the Hall of Fame. So, congrats to Pau on getting into the Naismith Hall of Fame. It's well deserved. Um, Unfortunately, uh, the man who um, was instrumental in helping him reach his peak as a player is Kobe Bean Bryant. Unfortunately, Kobe will not be with us when Powell is inducted to the Hall of Fame, but he's going to be with us in spirit. And I know Powell is going to be very emotional um, talking about his time with the Lakers. And I just hope everybody just has a little bit of understanding and empathy. If perhaps maybe it's difficult for him to get through uh, what will be an emotional experience. He he's going in with a really cool class. I mean, for a man who's often thought of as you know, and righteously so, a very dignified, sophisticated man. Oftentimes that can be seen as like dull and boring. I don't think so. I think when I think of power, I think of class. I think of style. I think of finesse. I think of just a well-rounded person. And to go into a class with people like Dwyane Wade and Dirk Nowitzki and Tony Parker. I mean, this is a very special class that's heading into the Hall of Fame. I mean, all of them are worthy. All of them are have been exceptional, but quite honestly, it's going to be interesting because I don't think anybody's going to be talking about this. But I thought the biggest snub on the top 75 list of all time for the NBA was Powell. I don't think it was Dwight. I didn't think it was Tony Parker. I thought it was Powell. For them to have left Powell off the top 75 list is ridiculous and absurd. But again, it goes just goes back to the arbitrariness and unnecessary rating system that these people have. There's no set standardization. It's just a value system for the individual. There's not an actual standardized rating that is kind of equinate has equanimity and also balance because you need that as well. Everybody, welcome into Lakers Fast Break. I saw Intel. Thank you, Intel. I see Ryan M. Thank you, Ryan M. Thanks for dropping in, guys. So, yeah, so today is kind of it's a special pod, I think, for all of us because, coming up Saturday, Powell is going to be elected to the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame. He's going in with Dwyane Wade. He's going in with Dirk. He's going in with Tony Parker. He's going in with Coach Gregg Popovich, and going in with Becky Hammon. That's a pretty cool class. Um, you know, again, Pau's career was very very interesting from the very start. I mean, the best thing the Vancouver Grizzlies probably ever did in the draft was draft Pau, and then they ended up leaving. So that's the legacy of the Vancouver Grizzlies. Is that Pau Gasol is their last great lottery pick, and probably their only one outside of Mike Bibby. Pau plays in Memphis. Is tutelage under Jerry West, and Jerry West also makes sure that Pau has a competent point guard, so he is able to acquire White Chocolate and White Chocolate in Pau Gasol form a great duo. And it's kind of funny. Everybody remembers that great photo of LeBron and Dwayne on the fast break. Actually, Pau and White Chocolate were the first ones to do that. They kind of did that first, but it kind of gets lost in the shuffle. Uh, so Pau comes in with a bang. He wins Rookie of the Year. Is able to help get the Grizzlies eventually into the playoffs. But every time the Memphis Grizzlies make the playoffs, it just seemed like they were just ran into the San Antonio Spurs. And every time Pau ran into the Spurs were a well-oiled machine. They were just deeper than the Grizz. Uh, and they dominate them. Powell was swept time and time and time in the playoffs, and there was always a question about whether Powell was actually a number one or was he the best power forward in the game. And again, that day will live in infamy for us. Like that trade, you know, I did not see us acquiring Pau Gasol. That was not on the radar whatsoever. I've said that ever since that game 7 victory against the Celtics. It wasn't on the radar. He was going to Chicago. It's all set. It was all set. Hey, Kurt. And you know like that's a story I think every Laker fan is going to have, is where were you when you heard about the Power trade, and where were you when you heard about Kobe. But the Pow trade, I was on the highway, because at that point in time, ladies and gentlemen, we're just kind of getting into the idea of the smartphone phase. A lot of us still have flip phones at this point, so I'm basically relying on like the television and newspapers, basically. And yeah, it comes over the radio that the Lakers acquired Pau Gasol, and I just heard what they gave up for him, and I start wailing on the wheel like crazy, and I pull over because I think I'm gonna crash. Like I can't believe it. I just start freaking out. It was that that was some of the greatest news I ever heard as a sports fan. It's like I'll never forget it for the rest of my life. And to see Powell get into the Hall now, and let's face it, guys, he's gonna go into the Hall of Fame as a Laker. He should. It's only right. And again, unfortunately, the dude that was beside him through all the struggles, and there with them when they were sipping champagne. Unfortunately, he's not going to be there. Um, that's a little sour, but the sweet is never as sweet without the sour. Um, Pau should be grateful, and should really thank God that somehow him and Kobe became intertwined as professionals because they helped each other. Um, yes, yes, Serge Gasol was a beast. Let's face it, guys. When Pau got traded to the Lakers, that's when they hit the ground running. It wasn't as if, we're easing into this. Nope. Yeah, we lost the first game, but that second game, I think it was against I'm trying to remember who it was. I think it was the Hawks. He just lit it up, and we ended up winning 10 in a row. Yeah, he did miss some games, but it was it was all set to go. And it's kind of ironic, guys, is that in the same class, Pau's in, Greg Popovich is in as well. And if anybody anywhere at any time wanted that trade to be rescinded, it was Greg Popovich. As much as Laker fans detest the idea that David Stern nixed the Chris Paul trade, Greg Popovich was going to die on that hill that there is no way you can let the Lakers acquire Pau Gasol. He lost his mind. He literally lost his mind over that idea, like just the idea. It wasn't that Pau had been traded to the Lakers yet. It was the Kurt says Pop wanted all Laker trades to be rescinded. Yeah, I think after we acquired Michael Thompson, Kurt, that was it because we haven't made a trade with the Spurs since. But yeah, he was furious. He couldn't believe it, and he couldn't believe what we gave up for him. And if you look back now, look what we gave up was commensurate. Uh is Marc Gasol a Hall of Fame player? I don't know. We're gonna find out. I think he will get in the Hall of Fame. So if that's the case, the Grizzlies did get a Hall of Fame player out of the deal. I mean, what did you get, Pop? Jakob Pertl and a first round pick. Anyway, I just find it interesting that just something like that is intertwined. Pop also gets into the Hall of Fame. There's no uh, sec probably only second to Red Auerbach is there probably a more despised head coach by Lakers fans. Um, Kurt, very rare to see a brother for brother trade. Oh yeah, nearly almost unheard of. I think you'd have a better chance of being a first round pick in the NFL draft than seeing something like that, and especially for the quality of player that both are individually. Search says they fixed the draft and Pop got Wemby, so he shouldn't say anything. Well, we'll see, Search. We'll see. That story is yet to be written down yet. So, I mean, let's not crown anything quite yet. But yeah, he got Wemby. He should shut the French toast up about a lot of things. But again, he also is deserved to be in the Hall of Fame. 5 titles. He's been able to cement himself as a player's coach. As funny as that sounds, somebody who graduated from the Air Force would you would think would be a total hard ass, but I think he's had to adapt over the years and not be such a uh, demanding and unctuous individual. I mean, one great respect I have for him is his quote that a reporter asked him, about his offense, about how it was opening up and allowing more 3-point opportunities, and he kind of like bristled at it and said, "Well, to be frank with you, sir, I don't even like the 3-point shot, but we have to adjust to the way the game is being played today. And if I don't adopt the 3-point shot, the Spurs can't evolve." So kudos to him for saying that. I mean, he did end up winning a title in between of the old era and the new era. Um, you know, he quite honestly, if you look at it, if it wasn't for the Lakers, he'd have a lot more. The Lakers prevented the Spurs from winning multiple more titles, and the Spurs were obstacles for us for more titles as well. So he is worthy foe, worthy of being in the Hall of Fame. He's a top 5 coach all time in the NBA. Another inductee into the Hall of Fame we need to discuss, obviously, is Tony Parker. This is great because I generally, because we're a Lakers site, we don't really talk about the old school history outside of just happenstance or continuance or just just randomness. But uh as far as playoff point guards go, like if there's a list of the greatest playoff point guards, it would be Magic one, and then I think you would try and find a lot of people who would try and dismiss or um, discount him. But Tony Parker is the second greatest playoff performer from point guard in NBA history. He's got 4 titles. He's number 11 all time in points scored in the playoffs. He's number 6 in assists. He's won well over 100 over 180 games in the playoffs. He's likely going to go down as the second greatest point guard performer in the playoffs, other than Magic. Let's face it. If he doesn't play the way he plays against the Pistons, they don't win that title. The Pistons end up winning back-to-back titles, which would be amazing, right? When you think about it. Yeah, that's funny, Kurt. Yeah, well, no, I mean, you know, it is what it is, man. It is what it is. It's the Basketball Hall of Fame. It's not the good guy Hall of Fame, right? 4 titles, man. You can't deny it. Can't deny how good he was, especially in between. Again, in between eras as well. He was a feisty little guy when there was still hand checking going on. I mean, stopped uh, almost like a year or two after he got into the league. And here's Joe. Mm-hmm. And we just derailed. Nah. Anyway, moving on. Probably the best Hall of Fame member of the group is probably Dirk. Um, Probably going to go down as the greatest European basketball player of all time. Um, Eighth in scoring all time. Won a title during the Kobe Bryant, Shaq, Tim Duncan, LeBron James era. That's impressive. Even more impressive than Akeem winning 2 during the Jordan era. Uh, Dirk. Dirk's probably part of one of the lopsided trades in NBA history. Again, 1998. Um, Don Nelson is GM of the Mavs. He's not really thinking of this kid, but he likes him. He wants Pat Garrity. So he trades Robert Tractor Trailer for Pat Garrity and a kid named Dirk Nowitzki. Now, Robert Tractor Trailer ends up playing 7 seasons with 4 different teams, scores less than 5 points a game. Dirk ends up playing 21 seasons, likely goes down as the greatest Euro basketball player ever, has one of the most copied moves of all time, his flamingo fadeaway. Just a beautiful shot. 14-time All-Star, again, MVP, Finals MVP, um, well deserved. And the last player um, inducted is Dwyane Wade, obviously. 13-time All-Star, won a scoring title again, won a scoring title in the Carmelo Anthony, LeBron James, Kevin Durant, Kobe Bryant era. That's impressive. That's impressive. Three times, 3 times a champ, 1 time Finals MVP. Again, impressive. Kurt says, "Imagine if the Mavs kept Nash with Dirk." Yeah, Kurt, Dirk would have more than 1 title. That's for sure. But again, like it just like the Suns, both the Suns and the Mavs watched him walk out once. So um, you know, again, that goes really deep, Kurt. I'll try and look up the essay that uh, Mark Cuban wrote, where he was like just like berating Bill Duffy, the agent, as if it was Duffy's fault, and it wasn't Cuban's clawed thinking. He's a blockhead. He's a blockhead. A lot of times when that guy's making an NBA deal, I would feel good on the other end, knowing blockhead will approve or disapprove of the situation. I wanted to see that Suns team beat the Spurs. They were good enough. They were good enough. They just could never finish the deal. And what sealed their fate was when Boris Dio and Amari Stoudemire decided to just lose their minds and leave the bench. They cost that team, a game, a huge game, and ultimately cost them the series. That was totally Cuban's fault. He thought Nash got old and was on the downside 2 MVPs later. Exactly. Exactly. He was too busy listening to his ego, and and a lot of the medical people who were telling him that Nash's back is broke, it's done, you know. But again, it, credit credit goes to that player, Steve Nash, for overcoming a lot of that. Search Mark Cuban is another whiny bleep. Well, yeah, he is. He is. And let's face it, like he's gonna. Oh, if he gives interviews over the next week or so, what's up, PMC? If he gives interviews over the next week or so, don't be surprised if he tries to take credit for a lot of the great things Dirk has done throughout his career. All he did was sign the checks, and I'm sure they were all friendly and whatnot, but he had nothing to do with drafting that guy. He didn't own the team at the time, and he doesn't deserve to take any other credit than the fact that he helped them win a title. That's it. If he tries to talk about his career in terms of his ego having anything to do with Dirk, he will be laughed out of every single room on Saturday during the Hall of Fame ceremonies. And again, welcome in everybody. It's the Lakers Fast Break YouTube channel. I'm your host, MagicMan, aka Sean Grice, and right now we're just discussing some big news that Pau Gasol is headed into the Hall of Fame. When over a 2.5 year period between when Pau got traded in February of '08 to when you look at the team in like shortly after the championship, the second one, the Lakers had we had like a ridiculous winning percentage with him in the starting lineup, something like 83%. It was truly um, exemplary of just the kind of player he was and what he added to the team. I know a lot of people probably have their favorite Pau moment as a Laker. I know I do. Um, it was Game 5 against the OKC Thunder. Um, OKC's up 94-93. It's about 15 seconds left on the clock. Kobe's bringing up the ball. Russ kind of checks him from the half court. Kobe heads. Kobe wants the right baseline. He wants that shot. So he waits. He waits. He takes Russ down to the baseline. Fade away. Pow just leaves Serge Ibaka. I'm not sure if Ibaka did not respect Pau's strength, or again, as Search is saying, his fundamentals. But Nick Collison is right underneath the basket. So I'm thinking, oh my God, Collison's going to get the rebound. We're going to a game seven. Nope. Pau goes in between Ibaka and Collison, grabs the board, put back. Lakers score. Lakers up 95 94.5 seconds left. Pau delivered. It was amazing. It was amazing. And as Serge said, it was great fundamentals. And that's who Pau was. I mean, Pau could finish with his right hand on the left block and with his left hand on the right block. He could shoot left-handed. He could shoot right-handed. He was adept at being ambidextrous. He could pass to the right side of the wing off the left block and pass to the left side of the wing off the right block. Uh, Kurt says Gasol's BBIQ was next level, picking up the triangle quickly and defending Dwight in the finals. Yep, absolutely. Well, if you remember, Kurt, we basically skated through the playoffs until we got to Boston. There wasn't really any obstacles throughout the way, and you know, Pau just fit like a glove. He just fit like a glove. And again, I think we were kind of talking about it before. It's not just his basketball IQ. It was like the skill set, because at that point in time, um, Lamar Odom had developed a pretty respectable 3-point shot. I mean, he shot 34%, but it was respectable. You had to respect him. And with Pau's ability to stretch the floor with the mid range, it really opened up lanes for Lamar that Lamar did not have before. I mean, Bynum clogged the lane. It was difficult for Lamar to play with Bynum. Bynum clogged the lane. Lamar liked to be free reign. He liked to have a lot of space, right? And that was difficult with Bynum. But Pau could play with Bynum. Pau could play with Bynum because Pau could play outside. He was comfortable with them. Um, with Lamar, it was a different story, right? But again, it complemented everybody. Search, that was a good team, man. Bynum, Lamar, Gasol, that was crazy good. Yeah, that trio of bigs was very good, very complimentary of one another. You had a bulky low post man child in Andrew Bynum. You had a high basketball IQ power forward and Pau Gasol with a probably the best mid range game in the NBA, not just as a power forward, like in the NBA. His mid range was second to none. And then you had Lamar Odom, a 6'11" power forward who can dribble drive you to death. And, you know, they were great. They were great, man. They really complemented each other well. Um, that 3 year span, one of the greatest spans in NBA history. Um, not to be underrated at all. Probably the second best 3 year stretch the Lakers had since Showtime. I'm gonna say, because even Kobe and Shaq only won 56 games in the regular season at one point. So I think that winning percentage was just absurd. Um, and as we continue on here, shortly gonna roll out, but our old friend Cole Swider has picked up an Exhibit 10 contract with the Miami Heat. So that didn't take too long. Wish him well, except when he plays the Lakers. Um, again, I think it's just an example of teams paying attention to a team like the Los Angeles Lakers just constantly, and and peering in and trying to see what kind of players they develop, if they'd be looking to move off of them. Look, it didn't take long. It didn't take long for Kurt. Leave it to Miami to probably teach Spider-Man how to play D. Yeah, I don't think that's too far of a stretch. Maybe as half a season in Sioux Falls, and then they bring him up, and he starts shooting 45% from beyond the arc for the Heat. Kurt, wouldn't surprise, wouldn't surprise. But again, I think we're all a little surprised at the caliber of team that picked them up, rather than a team picking him up at them regardless. But the Miami Heat are a really great developmental team themselves, and they see something in Cole Swider. So wish Cole well again, except when he plays the Lakers, and hopefully he continues on his path in the NBA. And before we head on out, guys, I just wanted to mention that yesterday I read some news that point guard Ricky Rubio will be taking a break from basketball professionally, both international and domestic club play. So um, Ricky probably had the most hype and expectation thrusted upon him by any European player I can think of, honestly, and been watching the game a long time. He started playing basketball when he was 14 years old. His parents actually had to sign the contract for him because during that time, select play I think was only 16 or 17-year-olds, and he's 14, a wonder child. Samir, the the U.S. Plays, I believe, in Puerto Rico tomorrow in Vegas. I believe that game is tomorrow. It's the United States and Puerto Rico in a friendly. I know Canada is headed to Germany to play some friendly matches before the tournament starts as well. So yeah, I just wanted to pass along my best wishes to Ricky Rubio. Again, uh, playing that time from 14 years old and reading about the stories about him and his mother spending hours, days, weeks together on trips in a minivan. And his her death affected him greatly. Um, and I can't imagine that because I still have my mother. I'm very lucky about that. But when you describe your mother as your best friend, that's a difficult person to just realize that they're not here anymore. Here today, gone tomorrow. That's not a line, guys. I was a paramedic for almost 8 years. That's not a line. That's not just some line. That means something. And I'm just wishing Ricky well. I hope he has the support system behind him and that he needs, because having a young wife and a young son is a lot of responsibility as well. So on behalf of the Lakers fast break and everybody around the globe who's a hooper, Ricky, we wish you well, man. We wish you well. And wanted to leave on a positive note. So right now, Pau Gasol going to be entering the Hall of Fame August 12th. That speech will be very emotional. Very emotional. Um, I hope Jerry West is there. I hope I hope Jerry and Pau are together there and can fondly reminisce about Kobe, because Kobe links Jerry and Pau together forever. They're all linked together, and Pau is it's going to be a lot for him, guys. So I just wanted to pass along some support and some encouragement for everybody that just give Pau some space on Saturday because he's probably going to be very emotional thinking about his time in Los Angeles. It cemented a Hall of Fame career. He likely, if he didn't play with the Lakers during that stretch, it's likely he'd get into the Hall of Fame, but he wouldn't get into the Hall of Fame this quickly. He retired in 2019. 4 years is the amount of time you have to wait between induction and retirement. And so, I mean, it's as quick as you can get. So I'm just thank you, Pau, as a Laker fan again, and we love you, man. Uh, your number got retired. Number 16 is retired forever, and now number 16 is going into the Hall of Fame as a Laker. Uh, Kurt, also, Sean, thank you for taking the time to do these shows for us as well. Thank you, man. Thank you. You know, this is I love doing this, and again, I'm just appreciative of the audience we have, and the fact that you guys appreciate and respect the content that we deliver. And I get up and look forward to these, man. So I thought about this morning. I was like, yeah, we need to get this in, and we need to make sure that we send our kudos and thanks and congrats out to Pau for making the Hall of Fame. And again, going in as a Laker, it's only fitting, and it's a cool class. He's the coolest cat in the group, and we wish the big Spaniard well as he makes his way to the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame. And with that, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Please hit the like and subscribe button, guys. Always helps us. We're so close to 1K, and that's an amazing number. Thank you very much. Let's keep this going, and we'll see y'all later from the Lakers Fast Break. Thank you very much. Bye bye.